Hello everyone, and welcome to day 5 of your 40-day challenge. We have the beautiful Caroline here on the left, who will be doing a little bit more of an advanced practice today for you. And then on the right, we have the beautiful Desiree. Now these ladies have been sitting for at least 5 minutes to get some grounding practice in. So if you'd like to do the same, we would highly suggest that. Take a deep breath in, filling your belly up. And exhale deeply through the mouth, letting all the air out. Place your hands at the front of your mat and find your way to a standing position to start today's practice. Coming to your first Tadasana, mountain pose, ground your feet on the floor. You can take a block and place it between your thighs. If you don't have a block at home, you can take a towel and put that between your thighs, works just as good. But tuck the tailbone, and as you inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears, and exhale, let them come down the side body, opening up the spacing of the chest and the back. Let the palms face forward, pressing forward. As you inhale, let the hands come up over your head, slightly touching, and as you exhale, hinge from the hips, coming down to a forward fold. Right away, as you inhale, halfway lift, placing your hands on your thighs, shins, or leaving them on the floor. Exhale, plant the hands and step back into your first plank pose. Inhale to settle in your plank with your hands directly underneath your shoulders, and as you exhale, tuck the shoulders into the body, option to drop the knees and lower all the way down to the ground. Once you arrive, untuck your toes and inhale to lift the chest, elbows tucked into the side body, to cobra. Exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out here, your first downward dog of this practice. So it'll feel a little different throughout the rest of the practice. So feel it out. Give some small movements, large movements, whatever make you feel better. Taking 5 breaths here in this first downward facing dog. Every breath is a movement. Every inhale is a way to lengthen the body, and every exhale is to deepen yourself into this posture. So as you inhale in your downward dog, lift the tailbone up into the sky, giving a nice flatter back. And as you exhale, try and push those heels deeper into the floor. On your next inhale, bend the knees, come up to your tippy toes, and as you exhale, walk to the front of your mat at a forward fold. Right away when you arrive, inhale for a halfway lift, and exhale back to a forward fold. Inhale, rise the hands all the way up, and exhale, hands to heart center, Samasthiti. Beautiful. Again, find your mountain pose, palms face forward, shoulders relaxed, tail tucked in. Inhale, hands over the head. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips, touching the floor. Right away on your inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, plant the hands, step or walk or float your feet back. Inhale to settle in the plank before exhaling all the way down through your chaturanga. Inhale for a cobra, and exhale, bring the tailbone up into the sky to a downward dog, and 5 breaths here. Inhale deeply through the nose, lengthening the spine. Exhale, maybe push those heels a little deeper into the floor. Inhale, lifting the tailbone up. Exhale, pushing the thighs to the back rim. Making sure that you have equal distribution throughout the entire hand, so gripping the floor with your fingertips. Last couple breaths here. Nothing is still. You're always moving with every breath. Next inhale, please bend the knees, and as you exhale, step, walk, or float to the front of your mat at a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift once you arrive, and exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, rise all the way up, standing, hands over the head. Exhale, hands to heart center. And release the palms to come back to your third Tadasana. Inhale, rise the hands back up over the head. Exhale, hinge forward, folding forward. Hands on the shins or the thighs as you inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step, walk, or float to your Phalakasana. Inhale to settle here before you exhale and lower halfway or all the way through your Chaturanga. Inhale for a halfway lift, Cobra or Upward Dog. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. 5 breaths here. The goal of this Downward Facing Dog, just as any other, is not to get your heels to the floor, but to bring in a lot of nice space down the back. Letting your thighs push towards the back room, tipping your tailbone up into the ceiling. Shoulders are nice and spaced away from the ears, not crunching into your neck. Inhale, bend the knees, take your gaze to the front, and step, walk, or float to the front of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift once you arrive, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale all the way up, hands over the head. Exhale, Samasthiti, hands to heart center. Great, so you can remove the block from between your thighs. Place it to the side of your mat, you might need it later. Planting down through the feet, again to find your mountain pose. Hands pressed forward, shoulders down, tailbone tucked. Inhale, raise the hands up, and as you exhale, bend the knees and sit down into your Utkatasana chair pose, which actually translates into your awkward pose. So you might feel awkward. Take a check at your feet. Make sure you can still see your toes over your bent knees. 2 strong breaths here. And exhale, hinge at the hips, folding forward. Plant the hands on the shins, the thighs, or the floor for a halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step back into your plank pose. Inhale to settle here, and exhale, float halfway or all the way down. Inhale for an upward dog or cobra, keeping the shoulders down. Exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Right away, inhale, lift the left leg up into the sky. And exhale, planted at the front of your mat between your hands. Right away, drop the right knee. Make sure that the front knee is stacked over top of the ankle before you inhale for a low lunge, crescent lunge. Every inhale is a movement towards the ceiling, lengthening the fingers up, but keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And as you exhale, you can push a little deeper into that lunge. Another inhale before you exhale and bring your hands back down to the floor, planting them, lifting the left leg, the right knee up, and stepping the left leg back into your plank pose. Exhale down through Chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up into the sky. Exhale, plant it at the front of your mat. And drop the left knee. Stacking the right knee over the right ankle. Inhale for a crescent lunge. Squaring the hips by pushing the left hip forward and pulling the right hip back. Shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhale to lengthen the fingers up into the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward. Plant the hands, step the front foot back to meet into your plank. Exhale for Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Bhujangasana or upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. So take this time to pedal your feet out. You're a little looser. You might be able to bring those heels a little deeper. May be able to lift that tailbone a little bit higher. Gripping the floors with your hands is super important. Helps you distribute the weight evenly so you're not dumping into your wrists. If you have hyperextension of the elbows, give it a little bit of a micro bend. It might bring a little bit more stress into the arms, which makes it a little harder, but you're working it and you're not going to hurt yourself. Inhale, bend the knees. Take a gaze to the front of the mat. As you exhale, walk, step, or float to the front of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up, bend the knees, sit back into your Utkatasana chair pose. Take a look at your toes, make sure you can still see them over your knees. And inhale to stand, straight legs, hands to heart center. Right away, inhale, hands up, exhale, bending the knees into your chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands, step, walk, or float back into your plank. If you're stepping back, jumping back into your plank, trying to jump back into your chaturanga with your bent elbows. Yeah. Inhale for your cobra or your upward dog. And as you exhale, push your hips back and up into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up into the sky and place it at the front of your mat in between your hands as you exhale. Drop the back knee, and as you inhale, lift the hands into your crescent lunge. Exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Inhale to lift the chest, and as you exhale, twist towards your front knee, so towards the left. Hooking your elbow onto your knee to come into your crescent lunge twist. Every inhale, lengthening the crown of your head towards the front of the room, and as you exhale, maybe twist a little bit deeper, leading with the chest. So if you don't twist as deeply today, you might twist deeper tomorrow, you might twist less tomorrow. So don't attach yourself to any kind of sensation or feeling or expectation here. Last inhale to lengthen the crown of the head to the front of the room a little bit more. Exhale to twist a little deeper. Inhale, come all the way up, hands above the head. Exhale, plant the hands in front of your mat. Take the front foot to meet the back to come into your plank. And exhale, halfway or all the way down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale for downward facing dog. Right away, inhale, lift the right leg into the sky. Exhale, plant it at the front of the mat and drop the back knee. Square the hips, knees stacked right over the ankle. Inhale for your low lunge, your crescent lunge. Exhale, bring the hands back to heart center. Inhale to lengthen the crown, and as you exhale, twist yourself towards the right, hooking your left elbow onto your right knee. Every breath includes a movement. Inhale to lengthen the spine, giving space between the vertebrae. And as you exhale, maybe you can twist a little bit deeper, but try to maintain the square hips. Last inhale to lengthen the spine before you exhale and twist a little deeper. One more inhale, and as you exhale, twist back, hands up over the head. Exhale, plant the hands at the front of the mat. Step your front foot to meet the back foot and lower through your Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale for a cobra or upward dog, and exhale for your downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Pedal the feet out as much as you'd like to. Feel the space in your spine as you push the tailbone up and back. Thighs are engaged, hands are equally holding the weight. Elbows and shoulders are rotated inward. On your next inhale, bend the knees, take a gaze to the front of the mat, and hop or step to the front of your mat as you exhale. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. And inhale, come up into your Utkatasana chair pose. Hands up over the head, tailbone tucked. So you don't have a round spine, you don't have a back bend happening in this position. Nice. So if you need to lean forward quite a bit, go ahead. Inhale to straighten the legs, hands to heart center. And just close your eyes for a brief moment. Let yourself feel the sensations moving through your body as you come to the conclusion of your warm-up. Inhale the hands back up over the head and sit back into one of your last Utkatasana chair poses. Make this your strongest chair. This doesn't necessarily need to be a beanbag chair. This can be a bar stool. This can be really, really chill. It doesn't have to be extreme. Go to your edge. Inhale here one last time. And exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands to the floor. Place your hands on your shins, thighs, or on the floor for a halfway lift as you inhale. And plant the hands as you exhale, step, walk, or float into your Phalakasana or your Chaturanga Dandasana. Yeah, inhale for a cobra or upward dog. And exhale for a downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg into the sky, keeping the hips squared to the best of your ability. And exhale, plant it at the front of your mat. Option to either keep the knee up for a high lunge foot, so your ankle, your heel would be directly underneath your toes, or plant the back foot at a 45-degree angle. So one of you ladies, maybe you can come into a high lunge and one can come into a warrior two. So Caroline's doing the high lunge. Make sure your knee is directly over top of your ankle, and Desiree will come into your warrior one. So the back foot's at a 45-degree angle, and the front knee is bent directly over top of the ankle. Square the hips to the front of the mat and inhale the hands up. Lengthening through the spine, pushing the right hip forward and pulling the left hip back to square the hips. If you need to pull back from that front knee because you feel a little bit of pain in the front knee, by all means, just try not to push the knee over the ankle. Inhale one more time here and bend the right elbow, bringing it behind your back, and grab your right elbow with your left hand, bringing a nice shoulder stretch for 5 breaths. Inhale to lengthen the chest up. Exhale, pull that shoulder a little bit more. Inhale, lengthening the spine through the side body. Exhale, pushing a little deeper into those legs, engaging the back thigh. If you're in your high lunge, get that back thigh up into the ceiling, pushing and getting that heel directly over top of your toes to the best of your ability. If you're in the studio, I might be touching you, so hopefully you're okay with that. If you're in your warrior one, make sure that you're pushing all of the weight into the back blade of that back foot, engaging that entire leg. Last breath. To inhale, lengthening the chest. Exhale, pull that shoulder a little bit more. Inhale, arms up over the head. Exhale, fold forward halfway. Lengthen the fingers towards the front of the room. If you fall, feel free to fall and just come back. Have no fear that you're going to hurt yourself. Inhale to lengthen the hands up. Exhale, fold forward again. Inhale, lengthen the arms up through the side body. Exhale for the last fold forward. Hold here. And inhale, back up last time. Before you dive all the way forward on your exhale, plant the hands and step the back foot up. Keep the hips square to your mat to the best of your ability to come to your standing split. There are different options here. You can keep both of your hands on the mat, or you can slowly start to work one of your hands to your ankle, eventually bringing both hands to your ankle. Your foot can be as close to the floor, as high to the ceiling, just as long as you keep your hips square to the floor. Last inhale to try and maybe bring that foot up a little bit higher. Exhale, plant the right foot next to the left foot at a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands and step back into your plank pose. Inhale to settle in your plank before exhale all the way down. Inhale for a cobra or upward dog, and exhale for your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up into the sky, plant it at the front of your mat. And if you took a high lunge on the last side, take a high lunge on this side. But if you took a warrior one on last side, please plant the back foot at a 45-degree angle. Nice. Engaging both thighs, square the hips, and inhale to come up to your high lunge or your warrior one. Knee stacked over the ankle and the front foot. Hips squared. And in your high lunge, push that back thigh up into the ceiling with your heel directly over the toes to the best of your ability. Bend the left elbow this time and grab the left elbow with your right hand, bringing in a nice shoulder stretch for 5 breaths. Inhale to open the chest. Exhale to pull the elbow a little bit harder. If you find that you're hunching over, maybe you can take a different arm. Maybe you can just keep the elbow bent instead of taking the elbow. If you want to take a more advanced, you can take your other arm that's grabbing the elbow and wrap it around the back, holding and grasping your arms from behind. 2 more breaths. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, stretch the shoulders a little bit more. Inhale, lift the arms up over the head. And exhale to fold forward halfway. Inhale to lengthen the hands up to the sky. And exhale halfway, second time. Inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale for your last halfway forward fold. Inhale, all the way lift up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. Coming up onto your toe if you were on your warrior one. And inhale the back leg up to your standing split. If you'd like to keep both of your hands here, you can, or you can take the other modification where both of your hands find your standing leg. You can bend that standing leg as much as you need to square the hips, and your back foot can be as high or as low so that you can keep those hips squared. Last inhale to lengthen, pushing the foot back. Exhale, drop the left leg down to a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up and sit back into your last Utkatasana chair pose of this practice. We'll make this the strong chair pose, the strong awkward pose. Nice. So if you'd like to, for fun, you can come up onto your tippy toes here if you'd like to. Just as long as you don't compensate anything, feel any pain in the knees or the hips. Last inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale, drop the knees, the heels, and lift as you inhale to standing. Find your Tadasana, and step your left leg back to the back of your mat, and bring your feet to be parallel to sides, so you're facing now towards the right side of the room. Take your toes and bring your feet to be at a 45-degree angle with your heels in, so your toes are facing the outside, the top outsides of your mat. You're going to come into your first goddess squat. So take a check out at your toes as you bend your knees and tuck your tailbone. You can keep your hands on your hips, or you can bring them out into a cactus, your goddess arms. In this, it's most important to keep your knees tracked over your ankles, so you're not pushing your knees over or letting them fall back. So make sure you keep an eye on those guys. Great job, Desiree. Inhale to straighten the legs and move the heels out so that your feet are parallel to the side of your mat. Push the tailbone out so you can you give a little bit of a back bend, and bend your knees as much as you need to before hinging at the hips to fold forward, placing your hands on the mat in front of you to come to your wide-legged forward fold A. Your Prasrita Padottanasana. Every inhale, you're lengthening the spine. As you exhale, you can use your hands as traction to pull your torso farther. Place your hands on your hips and inhale to rise up. Move your feet so your toes are pointing towards the corners of your mat again, 45-degree angle-ish. And exhale to bend at the knees, come into your second goddess squat. So do the best that you can to tuck the tailbone in, to have a flatter back than normal. Beautiful. Every inhale is to lengthen the crown of the head towards the ceiling, and every exhale, you could bend a little deeper into those knees as long as you don't feel any pain. Inhale to rise all the way up. Move your feet to be parallel to the side of your mat. And this time, bring your hands to the hips. And tuck your tailbone, or untuck your tailbone to a degree where it comes, so you're actually turning your butt out. And bend the knees, and as you exhale, hinge the hips and bring your head down. Keeping your hands on your hips, you can actually tilt your tailbone up towards the sky in this way. Bend your knees as much as you need to get that nice tilt. You can even take a block and place it underneath of your head so you can rest your head in this position. Taking your thumbs into the hip creases helps to be able to shift and tilt that tailbone up into the sky if you can't actually do it. And as you inhale to lengthen the crown, you can, as you exhale, try and straighten those legs a little bit more. Sorry, ladies, I teased you. This time you can inhale and lift your torso all the way up, lengthening the spine, and bringing the heels back into a 45-degree angle to come into your third goddess squat. This time in your third goddess squat, if you'd like to be daring, you can come up onto your tippy toes. But if you feel any kind of pain down the back of the shins or the thighs, maybe don't come up as high on the tippy toes. Maybe don't come on the tippy toes at all today. You can try it a different day, or maybe you try it for a little while. This is your practice. Do what makes you feel good. Honor your body. Exhale, drop the heels, and rotate the feet to be parallel to the side of the mat. This time I would love for you to interlace your hands behind your back. You can bend your elbows, or you can keep them straight. You can have them glued to the tailbone, but do your best to keep the palms of your hands firmly pressed together. Inhale to tilt the tailbone, and exhale to fold forward, leading with the chest. Bend the knees as much as you need to, and you can have your hands either glued to your tailbone, or you can extend them out like Carolina is. Inhale to lengthen the crown towards the block or the floor. Exhale to try and straighten those legs a little bit if they aren't completely straight. Last inhale to lengthen whatever part of your body you feel can lengthen a little bit more. And exhale to straighten the knees before you inhale all the way up. And for your last goddess squat, bring the feet at a 45-degree angle, and exhale to squat down into your squat. Arms into whatever position you had before. You can try different variations if you'd like to. Explore this goddess squat. Come up onto the toes if you'd like to. Nice, Caroline. Couple more breaths. To inhale, lengthen this crown. Exhale, push a little deeper into that squat. Nice, Desiree. Inhale, lengthen all the way up, straightening the legs, and bring your feet to be back to be parallel to the sides of your mat. This time, as you tilt the tailbone up, bend the knees, hinge forward from the hips, leading with the chest. Let your hands walk down the sides of your legs, and either take your peace fingers to come to your big toes, or you can wrap your hands around the outsides of your feet. Use this as a way to pull your torso down towards the block or your mat, keeping your back flat to the best of your ability. So tilt the tailbone up into the ceiling. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, pull for the last little bit. Release the hands, and inhale to rise all the way up to the top. And step your left foot, or your left foot to the front of your mat to find your Tadasana. Inhale, lift the hands up over the head. Exhale, fold forward from the hips. Place the hands on the floor to your forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands underneath the shoulders and step, walk, or float to your plank pose. Inhale, exhale down all the way, and inhale for your cobra or upward dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up into the sky, square the hips, and exhale, place it to the front of the mat. Right away, drop the back foot to a 90-degree angle so it's parallel to the back of your mat. Now, windmill your hands up to come into your warrior two, so your hips are squared to the left of the room, so to the side wall. Your knee is stacked directly over top of your ankle, and you're equally distributing the weight between your feet, pressing deeply into the back blade of your right foot. Shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. Chest and all of the torso is squared towards the side room, and you can take your gaze over your front hand. Inhale to lengthen the crown towards the ceiling, and exhale, push a little deeper into that front knee. Flip the front hand so the palm faces the ceiling, and exalt your warrior by raising that hand up, taking your back arm onto the thigh or the shin, avoiding the knee at all costs. Lengthening the chest up towards the ceiling, opening the heart. Inhale to come back up to your warrior two, and right away stretch and extend your arm forward like someone is pulling your arm. And as you get to your edge, place your arm on your bent knee or on the floor, whichever you'd like. Desiree's going to grab a block and show you can place your arm on the block to swipe your hand up and over to come to your extended side angle. Feeling a stretch down the whole side of the right body. Still maintaining that bend in the front knee and pushing into the back blade of the foot. Inhale to come back up into your warrior two. Exhale to settle in your warrior two. Inhale, straighten the front knee. Beautiful. And as you exhale, lean forward, being pulled again. When you get to your edge, you can change your arm rotation to be vertically to come into your triangle. Placing your hands on your thigh, your shin, or on a block, or to the full expression on the floor. If you find that you're kind of hunching over and you're not presenting your chest forward, just come out of this posture a little bit. Bring your hand up your thigh a little bit more. One more breath here. To inhale, to lengthen the fingers to the ceiling. Exhale to push a little deeper into the triangle. And inhale to come up into your warrior two. Nice. Windmill the hands down to the floor, coming up onto the toes of your back foot. And as you inhale, lift the back foot to come into another standing splits. Inhale, lift the leg a little bit higher and keeping the hips squared to the best of your ability. Exhale, let that right leg come down, meet your left at the front of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands on the mat and step to your Phalakasana plank pose. Inhale to settle here. Exhale, go all the way to the floor. To come up to your upward dog or your cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up into the sky. And as you exhale, place it at the front of the mat between your hands. Right away, drop the back foot to a 90-degree angle. And windmill your arms up to come into your warrior two. Hips are squared now to the other side of the room, the right side or the left, whichever. Shoulders are down and away from the ears, working towards having the front thigh parallel to the mat. So your knee is, to the best of your ability, stacked over your ankle, pushing the weight into the back blade of the foot and reaching your arms to either sides of the room, trying to touch the walls. Flip the front arm hand so the palm faces up. And as you exhale, exalt your warrior, reaching the arm up and over the head. Maintaining that bend in the front knee and avoiding the knee when you place your hands on your back foot or your leg. Opening the chest is the goal of this posture. So if you don't go as far as you'd like to, just work on opening the chest. One more inhale here, and as you exhale, come back into your warrior two. Inhale to settle, and as you exhale, reach forward, hinging at the hips, and place that front arm on your thigh, and reach your arm over to come into extended side angle. Bringing in the block if you did in the last time. Nice. Inhale to lengthen the crown of the head towards the front room. And exhale, making sure that you're bending into that front knee, pushing the weight into the back foot. Inhale up to warrior two. Straighten the front knee. And as you exhale, hinge forward, being pulled, and rotate your arms so you place your front hand on your shin, thigh, or on the block or the floor to come into your triangle pose. Last inhale to lengthen the fingers to the ceiling. Exhale, open the chest a little bit more. Inhale, come back up, bend into that front knee to find your warrior two again. And windmill the hands to the front, planting them beside your feet. And right away, lift the back leg up to your standing split, keeping your hips squared to the mat to the best of your ability. One more inhale to lift that leg a little bit higher, but push that left hip down to the floor. Exhale, release the foot to come to a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands up over the head to your exhale, hands to heart center. Perfect. Now you're going to take the weight and you're going to move it to the left side of your body, finding equal weight throughout that entire foot. We're going to come into our Hasta Padangundasana. Well, I tried. Lift the right knee up into your chest. If you have a strap handy, you might want to grab that. Otherwise, you can take your knee into your hands. You can stay here for the first, or you can take your strap and wrap it around your foot. Or you can take your peace fingers and you can wrap it around your big toe. On your next inhale, let the leg lengthen, working towards straight. If you don't come to straight today, that's okay. You don't have to have your foot super high, you can have it lower, just as long as you keep your hips and your shoulders squared to the front of your mat. On your next inhale, let the leg come out to the side for your B standing, hand to big toe. Exhale, come back to the center and take your other hand and place it on the outside of your foot or the strap. Inhale to lift the right hand up into the sky, and as you exhale, twist your torso to look to the back of the room. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, untwist yourself and place both hands on your feet or the strap. And when you have stability in your standing leg, you can start to bend the elbows and pull, pressing the chest towards the leg. If you don't work there today, that's totally okay. Find your edge. And as you exhale, release the foot and let the hands come up over the head, pressing the heel to straight or to the best of your ability. If you don't have your foot straight, that's okay. Exhale, release the foot. Wiggle your hips a little bit, give a little bit of space. Thank you, thank you. And we're gonna find our tree pose. So keep your weight into that left foot and find your tree pose on your left side, so you can take your foot and either have it with your toes on the floor, with your foot right on your ankle like Desiree, or you can make it up to the shin, or all the way up to the thigh as Caroline will do. Square your hips and shoulders. Press that right knee back so it, to the best of its ability, is squared and in line with your standing leg. You can test your balance here by closing your eyes. Inhale to lengthen the spine up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, release the foot. Now work the weight towards the right side of the foot, equally distributing it through the entire foot. And as you exhale, lift your knee to your chest. You can grab your knee right now, or you can take your peace fingers and wrap it around your big toe, or take the strap and wrap it around your foot. On your next inhale, let your leg come straight. You're going to grab your foot with your other hand, Caroline, actually. Working towards straightening the leg. If that doesn't happen today, that's okay. Just work towards squaring the shoulders and the hips to the mat. Inhale, let the leg come out to the left. Working towards straightening your leg. But if that doesn't happen again, that's okay. Just keep the hips and the shoulders squared. Exhale, bring the foot back to center and place both hands on your feet or on the strap. So the right leg, right hand. Try and bring the hand on the other side, Caroline. So it's through the over the top of the front of the foot. Yeah, and then lift the left arm up and over, and as you exhale, twist towards the back of the room. Inhale to lengthen the spine towards the ceiling, and exhale to untwist yourself and find both hands on your knee or your foot or on the strap. And when you have a straight leg and stabilized weight on your standing foot, you can start to bend the knee. Or you can just put the foot down. Great, we'll come into our Trikonasana on this side. So find your tree. Your foot can either be on the ankle, on the shin, or on the thigh. Just as long as your hips and shoulders are squared and your knee is in line with your standing leg. You can test your balance here again by closing your eyes if you'd like. If you fall, allow yourself to fall. And release as you exhale. Give yourself some love, work those hips around. And find your Tadasana again. Inhale to lift the hands over the head. Exhale, fold forward all the way, plant the hands on the mat. Inhale for your halfway lift, and exhale, plant the hands, step, walk, or float through your chaturanga. Inhale for upward dog or cobra, and exhale for your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up into the sky, and as you exhale, place it on the outside of your left hand at the front of your mat. Option to drop your back knee. And as you can see, you can come down onto your elbows like Caroline, or you can grab a blue block and you can use that as a nice place to place your forearms. This is like a nice hip stretch. So try and get that hip glued towards the side body, knee pushed over your ankle. And if you would like to, you can lift the back knee off the floor. One more deep breath here. Exhale. Plant the hands on the floor, moving your blocks. And as you exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg right away. And exhale, place it at the front of your mat on the outside of your right hand. Right away, drop the back knee and find your blocks or the mat with your forearms. Once you arrive here, you can lift the back knee up off the floor, but to the best of your abilities, keep your knee stacked over your ankle and your thigh pressed into your side body. Take a deep breath here, in through the nose. And as you exhale, plant the hands on the floor and step your front foot to meet the front foot more than hip distance apart. I'm going to actually ask you to stand up here before coming into your Malasana. So inhale the hands up, stretch them up over the head. And as you exhale, bring the hips down to the ground, bending at the knees to come into your Malasana all the way down. If you can't come all the way down, that's okay. And if your heels come up off the floor, that's all right too. Press the elbows into the thighs to open up the hips. Plant the hands on the ground. And I forgot to do the donkey kicks. We're going to do those now then. So place your hands on the ground. Yeah. And walk your feet out. Yeah, we'll do donkey kicks now. So yeah, shoulder width apart. So you come into donkey kicks by, like you're coming into a downward facing dog, but you can step your feet a little bit closer and tilt the tailbone up. Bend the knees as much as you need to and take your gaze a little bit farther away from your hands. And as you exhale, you can jump up doing a few donkey kicks at your own time. Nice. You can use a block between your feet to keep your feet together if you'd like. And once you're done, just come into a hero pose for a bit just to get the blood back into the bottom of the body. Now we're going to come into our crow, our crow pose, sorry. So place the hands on the front of your mat, shoulder distance apart. Come into your squat feet again. This time take your elbows up into the the armpit creases to the best of your ability. And it's not about strength, it's about distributing the weight, so you're balancing here. So bend the elbows, but try to bend them inwards rather than letting them pop out to the sides. And as you exhale, bend the elbows, and maybe your feet come off the floor, maybe they don't. 2 more breaths. And exhale, you can step, walk, or float back to your plank pose. Inhale to settle here, and exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale for a cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend the knees on the inhale and take a gaze to the front, and exhale to hop, step, or float to a seated position. Lower onto your back. Bend the knees and plant them on the floor. Lift the right leg up into the sky and cross it over your left knee. Flexing the foot will help protect the knee. And we're going to come into thread the needle. So interlace your hands and place them on the back of your left thigh or knee, or shin rather. You avoid the knee, sorry. Flex the feet to protect those knees, and try and glue the tailbone to the floor as you pull your left knee towards you and push the right knee away from you. Both of your shoulders are flat on the floor as well. Deep breath in. Exhale all the way to release the foot. I'm going to switch the legs. So lift the left leg into the sky and cross it over the right knee. Press the left knee away from you as you interlace your hands and lock your hands around your shin or your thigh, avoiding the knee. Keep your feet flexed and press the tailbone down to the floor and the shoulders glued to the mat. Take a deep breath here, in through the nose, and exhale all the way out. Inhale one more time, and exhale, release the feet. Plant them both on the floor and lift the torso up to come to a seated position. Knees planted, feet planted on the floor. We're going to come into our boat pose. So feet are hip distance apart. Nice. Arms, shoulders up and back. Place the hands on the mat behind you, a little wider than shoulder distance apart. Lift the chest, and you're not on your tailbone, you're actually on your seat bones here. So you're not rounding your spine, you're lifting the chest, almost a little bit of a back bend. You can stay here, or keeping the thighs engaged so you're kind of squeezed together, not too much. You can take a block here and put it between your thighs if you'd like to keep an engagement. Option to stay here, or to lift one leg up into the sky. And you can stay here, you can lift both legs up into the sky. Your knees can be bent, your hands can stay on the floor, or you can work them towards out in front of you, or you can grab your thighs from underneath. You keep your arms up. Exhale, release down, let your legs come down. You do that 2 more times. So whichever variation you took last time, you can take it again, or you can see if you can bring yourself to a new limit. So inhale to lift the chest, exhale to sit the seat bones into the ground, and if you want to, inhale to lift the legs. Engaging the inner core, not just the six-pack. If you shake, that's fabulous. You're working hard. Exhale, release everything down. Give yourself a little hug if you'd like to. Third time, you can do whatever variation you'd like. So place the hands on the mat to start. Fingers pointing towards the toes. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, settle your seat bones. Inhale to lift the legs if you'd like to. You can lift the arms if you'd like to. Any arm variation that suits you. Inhale, lengthen the chest and the crown and the toes. And exhale, release, letting go. Let your feet come glued together with your knees far out to the side to come into your Baddha Konasana, butterfly. You can stay lifted, or you can let your heart melt forward, leading with the chest. Bring your feet a little bit closer into your torso or into your hips so that you can roll over the blades of your foot, plant the hands, step walk or float to your plank pose. Yeah. Inhale once you're in plank, and exhale to lower all the way down onto your belly. Roll your hips around if you'd like to. And then come onto your elbows with your elbows directly underneath of your shoulders to come into your Sphinx here. Press the chest forward. And then take the left hand and rotate it so it's at a 45-degree angle, so your hand is about underneath of your ankle. You can take a strap at this point because we're going to come into your one-legged frog pose. So if you don't have the range of motion in your knee, you might want to take a strap and wrap it around your left ankle. So extend the right arm out in front of you and bend the left knee. So your foot comes into your butt. Your right knee, sorry. Circle around the right arm to grab the strap or your ankle. And you can take a few arm variations here. So if you are keeping your shoulders squared, you can rotate the arm so that your hands have the fingers pointing towards your fingers, the front of your mat. Or you can keep your arms on your strap. Just try and keep your arm a little, yeah, there you go. So you're not bending your elbow. Keep your shoulders squared to the front of the mat. Exhale, release all the way. Let go of the strap. Let your cheek find the mat. Roll your hips around if you'd like to. All right, come back up into your Sphinx pose and change the strap on the other ankle if you used a strap. You can bend the right elbow so that it comes underneath of the left wrist, and bend the left knee so that the foot comes into your butt. Extend the left arm out in front of you and circle it down and back, around and back, to grab your ankle or the strap. Square your hips to the front of your shoulders to the front of your mat. And if you'd like to take the full frog variation, you can straighten that right arm to bring in a back bend. Exhale, release down. Wiggle the hips around. You can remove the strap. If you don't have a strap handy at home, you can use a belt or a robe strap, whichever is strap-like material. We're going to come into a couple gentle locusts. So interlace your hands behind your back and glue your thighs together. Your feet are engaged, your legs are engaged from the feet up to your hips. So interlace your hands behind your back, and to the best of your ability, try and keep your palms glued together. You can have your arms straight or bent, whichever works for you. And as you inhale, lift the chest and push the hands down towards the feet. Engaging the legs will help lift the chest using the back muscles of your body. This is like doing a cobra without your hands. Exhale, release down. Untangle your hands and roll your hips back and forth if you'd like to. And do that again. This time, interlace your hands in the opposite direction. So if your left finger was on top, then your left finger will be on the bottom. So it's going to feel awkward. Glue those palms together to the best of your ability. And inhale to lift up the chest, engaging the thighs, pushing the hands towards the feet. Option to lift both of the legs as well to come into a full locust. Exhale, release. Roll the hips around. Find some space. This time, I would love for you to bend both of your knees and bring your feet into your bum and grab each ankle with each hand. If you can't do this, if that's not in your practice, you can grab a strap. You most likely need 2 straps, though, for this. So we'll just let you use your imagination on that one. On your inhale, kick the feet back towards the back room, lifting the chest. So kicking the feet back will help you lift your chest. And if you can, using your back muscles to lift the chest will help you roll onto the pelvis versus rolling onto your tummy or your chest. Take a deep breath to lengthen the feet and the chest up to the ceiling before you exhale and release everything down. Let the hips move back and forth. Give some love to those guys. And plant the hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale to a cobra. And exhale to a downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the heels off the floor and bend the knees. And as you exhale, float to a seated position. Lower onto your back when you're ready. And plant the feet firmly on the floor, about hip distance apart. So if you extend your arms out, down towards the side body, you should be able to touch your ankles just slightly. Great. I suggest taking a blue block and placing it between your thighs in this position so that you can work towards engaging those thighs so you don't push the knees out as you inhale to lift the chest up towards the ceiling, and your hips will follow to come into your first bridge pose. You're using the top part of your body in this, so poke your bum to make sure that it's soft. If it's engaged, you're using the wrong part of your body. You're lifting the chest so that the hips will follow versus lifting the hips and dumping into your lower body. Exhale, release all the way down to the floor. You can keep the block between your thighs, or you can remove it if you believe in yourself. And inhale the chest up, hips will follow, engaging the tops of the thighs to come into your second bridge pose. You can interlace your hands underneath of your body and walk your shoulders down towards your feet versus tucking them underneath of your body. One more breath to lift the chest a little bit higher, and exhale, release down. At this time, I invite you to come into a wheel position if that is in your practice. If it isn't, come into a third bridge by inhale and lifting the chest, letting the hips follow, disengaging the glutes. Yeah. If you're coming into your wheel, plant your hands with your fingers pointing towards your toes, and inhale to come onto your chest, the crown of your head. Once you're there, readjust your hands and inhale to lift the chest, leading with the chest, not the hips, up and back towards the back of your mat. You can stay here for as long as you like, but once you're finished, tuck your chin into your chest and lower onto your shoulders versus lowering onto your head. Windmill your legs, or windshield wiper your legs back and forth. Give some space in the bottom of the back. You can hug your knees into your chest if you'd like to. And inhale to lift up to a seated position. Plant your hands at the front of your mat and hop, jump, or float to a Phalakasana plank pose. And exhale to downward facing dog. We're going to take some more donkey kicks here. So you can take a block between your thighs. Tuck the tailbone up into the sky. Bend the knees as much as you need to as you hop your feet up into 5 donkey kicks. Once you finish your 5 donkey kicks, come into a child's pose. And remove your block. And breathe deeply into this position, letting your hips and head melt into your mat with your arms extended out in front of you or down the side body, whichever you choose today. This time we're going to do some L kicks. So we're going to do L kicks with both legs. So plant your hands at the front of your mat and you're going to push back into your downward facing dog again. Lift your right leg up into the sky as if you're doing a 3-legged downward dog. And bend the standing leg. As you inhale, you're going to use the floating leg as a momentum to come up into your L kicks. And the bottom leg is going to be a little bit of a kickstand sort of thing. You're going to kick off that leg and use the top leg to move your body up, stacking the shoulders over top of the wrists, and do 5 L kicks with this leg up. Nice. When you're done your 5, please meet back in downward facing dog. And inhale, lift the left leg up into the sky. Do 5 more on this side. So the goal of this is just to learn how your body moves. If you find that you're over kicking, you might want to learn how to fall. So we can do a tutorial on that sometime. But try to land softly by bending your standing leg again as you come down to the ground. Once you're done your 5 donkey kicks, you can come into a child's pose. Deep breath in, to lengthen the spine along the body, along the mat, and exhale to sink the hips and the head a little bit deeper into the mat. Now we're going to do some L stands on the wall. We'll do a tutorial on that later, so you can reference back to that, or you can have done that before, or you might already know how to do L kicks. So find your way to the back wall, ladies, and press your back onto the floor with your legs extended out in front of you so you can find the spacing. Grab a blue block and place it. So yeah, turn your back onto the wall and extend your legs out in front of you. And place the blue block at the end of your feet. Get right up against the wall. Yeah, right up against the wall. Now place the blue block at the end of your feet. Yep. And now get up and place your hands where the blue block is. Depending on your body ratio, if you have really long legs, you might need to step your hands a little farther than your blue block. So come up onto your downward facing dog-ish type thing, and then slowly walk your feet up the wall, but not high like that, Caroline. There you go. Place it where your hips are. So just below, yeah, a little bit higher now. And try and stack your arms over your wrists, your shoulders over your ankles, your wrists. 10 breaths to the best of your ability. You can't see them, but they're in a perfect L shape here. Versus the reason why it's called an L stand. If your feet start to fall, just walk your feet back up. If you fall off the wall, step back up. You don't need to start from one breath. Once you're done, you come into another child's pose. Perfect. On your next exhale, plant the hands at the front of your mat and push back into your downward facing dog. Inhale to bend the knees and look forward, and exhale to step, hop, or float to a seated position. Legs straight out in front of you to come into your Dandasana. Or Dandasana, there's no R in that. Feet are flexed, legs are engaged from the hips down to your toes. Lift the chest and place the hands on the floor beside your hips to press down. Inhale to lengthen the chest, and as you exhale, melt the heart forward to come into your Paschimottanasana. Your arms can stay on the floor, they can walk down towards your feet. Do the best you can to not round your back, so you can bend your knees as much as you need to, so you can get your hips, your thighs touching your chest. And pull yourself towards your feet, leading with the chest. Try to be here for at least 10 breaths. And do your best to move with every breath. Every inhale to lengthen the chest and the spine towards the front of the room. Every exhale to push yourself a little deeper into your forward fold. Last inhale here, lengthen more than you ever have. And exhale to maybe fold a little bit forward before you inhale all the way up. Plant the hands on the mat just behind your hips. Option to bend the knees, Desiree, and place them directly underneath of the knees. And as you inhale, lift the heart and the hips up into the sky to come into your reverse plank. Going to be here for 5 breaths. So as you inhale, lengthen the chest, pushing the hips up into the sky a little bit more, trying to keep a steady straight back. As you exhale, ground the feet and the hands. One more deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your tailbone find the floor. Extend the legs out in front of you if you have your knees bent, and move the flesh from your bone, the junk from your chunk. I like that. Bend the right knee and place the right foot on the inside of the left foot to come into your Janu Sirasanas. Janu Sirasana. Inhale, lift the chest up, and exhale, melt the heart forward over the straight leg to grab the foot, the shin or the thigh. Inhale, lengthen the chest. Exhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. And inhale, come all the way up. Take that right leg and plant the foot on the outside of the left leg. Move the junk from your trunk if it moved out underneath again. Inhale to lift the chest up, and exhale, twist towards your bent knee. Taking your gaze to the back of the room if you can, or let the chin just follow the chest. Deep inhale to lengthen the chest and the heart up, and exhale, untwist, and come into a little counter twist in the other side just for a moment, and straighten that bent leg. Now bend the left leg and bring it onto the inside of the right thigh. Inhale, lengthen the chest up before you exhale and melt forward over your straight leg. Inhale to rise up. And take the left leg and plant it, left foot and plant it on the outside of the right thigh. Move the flesh from your seat bones. And inhale to lift the chest. As you exhale, twist to open towards the left. Taking your gaze over your left shoulder to the best of your ability. One more inhale here, and exhale, untwist yourself, and slightly twist in the other direction for a little counter. And exhale back to center. Bring your feet out in front of you, and then bend the knees and get the feet planted together for your Baddha Konasana. You can rub your feet together if you'd like to. You can stay here lifted, or you can start to melt the heart forward. Take a block and place your head onto it like Desiree just did. Inhale, come on up, and as you exhale, lower onto your back. I'm going to come into some supine twists. So you can come into any leg variation you'd like. You can take one leg and bend it into your chest. You can take both knees and bend them into your chest and let both knees fall to the side. Or you can cross your legs over one another. Just let your knees fall to the left, maintaining both of your shoulders on the floor, and take your gaze to the right. This gives a nice stretch down the entire side body, all along the fascial band that wraps up and around, twisting around you like an elastic band. Take a deep breath here, in through the nose, and as you exhale, try and push your hip a little bit more. Give a nice twist to yourself. And inhale, come to center. You can hug your knees into your chest if you like to here. And if you use the one leg, you can switch legs up, so now your left leg is into your chest. Your right leg is straight out in front of you. And then let your knees fall to the left. Both of your shoulders are still on the floor, and your gaze is going towards the left now. Take a deep breath here, in through the nose, and as you exhale, push your hip a little bit deeper. Inhale to come back into center. Hug your knees into your chest. And at this time, you can either go right into your Shavasana, or you can come into your shoulder stand. For shoulder stand, bend your knees into your chest and take your hands down towards the small of your back as you lift your hips up off the floor. Yeah. Bring your hands down the side and down small of your back, bringing all the weight into your elbows versus your hips and versus your shoulders. You should have no pressure in the neck. Slowly working your legs towards straight, engaging the thighs, pushing the heels up into the ceiling is what helps this stance become strong. You can stay here for as long as 10 breaths if you like. This is really great for digestion, and if you've ever had a headache or swollen ankles, this is a go-to. If you can't do a shoulder stand, you can also do legs up the wall, which we can show you sometime. When you're ready, exhale and let your legs come down back behind your head to come into your plow pose. Desiree is going to show you legs up the wall because she's a gem. So you press your hips right up against the wall and let your feet flex as they press into the wall for complete engagement from the hips down to the toes, up to the toes. If you're in plow, please slowly let your spine find the floor with one vertebra touching the ground at a time. Once you're flat on the floor, come up onto your elbows and let your head find the crown on the floor, softening the chest, and all the weight is in the elbows. Coming into your fish position. When you're ready, you can release your fish pose to come into your final posture of Shavasana. You can stay here for at least 5 minutes. 10 is optimum. And if you'd like to afterwards, you can have 5 to 20 or even more, depending on how you feel, of meditation. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. You just concluded day 5 of the 40-day challenge. Namaste.